What is up, guys? So, a few things I want to talk about today. What it's like living in Doncaster. There's another survey out. It's one of the most dangerous places to live in England now, which really doesn't surprise me. Every day it's like a chorus of police sirens, the helicopters out all the time. So there's two major incidents yesterday. Someone got stabbed, someone got slashed. It's crazy living in Donny now. But yeah, I'm going to get into it. And if you saw the title to this video and you've come racing to watch the video saying, oh, he's relapsed, he's used heroin again, I told you he'd relapse, then you're going to be disappointed. I have not relapsed, but I had a dream last night that I had relapsed, and it was it was so real. It was, I could feel all the shame, I could feel the emotions, and I woke up and I was like, fucking hell, you know, it like burnt my head out a bit. So I thought I'd make a video and talk about it. And yeah, we'll talk about Darren G, Sam Walker. There's plenty to get into. So we'll start off with Doncaster. Yeah, what's it like living in Doncaster? Well, like I said yesterday, there was two major incidents. One guy got stabbed and he was all cordoned up. Another guy got slashed up and he was all cordoned up. And this happens every single day. It's just a mess in Doncaster now. And yesterday morning was pretty funny. Every morning I'll go out and I'll take the dog out. And yesterday it was about 7 a.m, 7, half 7 I go out. And I'm taking the dog out. We've gone over on the field and I could see a fire burning in the bushes. I thought, fucking hell, what's this? So I've gone up, I like pulled the bushes to the side and there's a car, burnt out car that's smouldering, you know, with the flames going. I thought, fucking hell. And then there's a settee next to it with some dude asleep on the settee next to a burning car. I'm like, fucking hell, 7 a.m. You don't expect to see that, but that's what it's like living in Donny now. And so I jumped back. I thought, fucking hell, I'm not going to disturb him. I started walking up, and then there was like a rustling in the bushes, getting closer and closer. I was like, fucking hell, is he coming for me or what? I was, you know, I got the old fighting stance ready. It was like something out of Predator, you know, when you see the bushes moving, it's getting closer and closer. That's what it was like. And then all of a sudden, there's a fucking deer jumped out at me, and it must not have seen me because it's jumped out, seen me, like spun round, shot off, and it's got caught up in the brambles because it's run straight through the brambles, and it's flipped around, it's landed on its back right at my feet, and then shot off. I thought, fucking hell, it's only 7 o'clock. There's a burnt out car, there's a bloke on a settee asleep, and I've been chased by a fucking deer. It's crazy. That's what it's like living in Donny. And they've just been issued, it's so dangerous now in the Doncaster prison, which I've spent years in there, that they've given them stun guns now, not me, actual stun guns. Which I always thought they had them anyway, but apparently not. And I just can't understand, because I go past the prison quite a lot on my bike, and I'll pop up there to see if there's out happening, see if there's any hostage situations about. And you see all the screws going into work, and they're all little girls full of makeup and like gaming nerds. Like, I just can't. And I think to myself, just imagine someone like, I don't know, like Brett May and Decker Heggie, you know, they meet, they've got knives, they're fucking having a gang fight with each other. You know, there's bodies flying everywhere, and they press the button for security and the screws. They're all little girls and gaming nerds. What are they going to do? I just got no confidence that they can handle a hostage situation. Maybe that's why they're giving them stun guns now, you know. But yeah, it just blows my mind. You think they'd be employing big, strong fucking dudes, and that's what it used to be like when I was in there. There'd be all big, massive, fat guys, or big strong blokes, and there'd be like a butch lesbian woman, you know, but now it's all little girls. It's crazy. But yeah, last night I had a dream. Oh God, it was so real. And I remember it, I was in the Doncaster flats, which is where I used to go to do drugs when I was a heroin addict, and I had my Donny Rovers t-shirt on, which is my favourite t-shirt at the moment. And I walked in, and the people on the settee were all sat around, were people I've been talking to on Facebook, on Messenger, on TikTok, you know, that I've been helping out, that I used to do drugs with and giving them advice and tips. And they was all sat on this settee, and as soon as I walked in, they were all laughing and pointing at me, saying, yeah, we knew you'd relapse, we knew you'd relapse. And I could feel the shame and the embarrassment, and, you know, like I'd let everybody down, and oh, it was horrible. And then I was just like, I could feel myself rattling. I was sneezing and my nose was running. I was like, shut up, just give me some fucking gear. And, you know, I've got the gear and I sat there doing it. I could smell it and taste it, you know, and oh God, and I could feel the shame and the embarrassment, feeling like you'd let everybody down. And that's what it feels like when you relapse, you know, like say you've got 3 months or say 30 days good time, sober time, and then you relapse and, you know, you're doing your drugs and you think, oh, well, it's not too bad, it's not that bad. And then you'll go to sleep that night and the moment you wake up the next morning, as soon as your eyes open, you're like hit with a wave of dread and misery and embarrassment and feeling like you've let everybody down and all them good days what you've got, they're all wasted now. It's an awful feeling, and that's what it felt like last night on this dream. And I'm sure if you've been to prison, you've probably had this same type of dream where you'll be in prison and you'll have a dream that you're on the out, and then when you wake up, you're in your cell, you know, your pad mate's fucking farting and snoring, and you're like, oh no, you know, I was just out in my dream and now I'm back in prison. And also it's the same when you get out, you know, you'll have a dream that you're in prison, like you're walking around the yard and the screws are shouting, the doors are slamming, and when you wake up and you're not in prison, you're on the out, you're like, yes. So it's good when you have that dream, but when you have the other dream, it fucking sucks. And it's kind of like that, but I'm glad I had it now because it reminded me of what it's like, you know, it reminded me of the misery and the dread of relapsing. And I don't think I ever will relapse, but I've been here before, you know. Before I was clean for like 5 years. I was working full time. I'd built up everything, money, friends, respect. And then one morning I just woke up and I needed to use. I was like, no. And I couldn't shake it. I couldn't get it out of my head. And all day I was thinking about it. And I went to bed. I thought I'd be gone tomorrow. But I woke up and I was thinking about it again. And I just couldn't shake that feeling, and I ended up crumbling, and I used that weekend, and 3 months later everything was gone, you know, all the money, job, I was straight on my arse, just a big piss stain up the wall, and from all the money I'd blown on drugs, and that's when I went down on a downward spiral and ended up an alcoholic fucking crackhead on like 5 different drugs. So yeah, it can change just like that. So I'm kind of glad I had that as like a little reminder without actually having to go through the actual relapse. But yeah, what else has been going on? I was watching on YouTube yesterday, that airport fucking weasel. His face is everywhere, innit? With his big fucking stupid hook nose and his big terrorist eyebrows. And it showed you the video. And I had seen it before, but I thought I'll watch it again to remind me what a real piece of shit this guy is. And he's attacking the women, knocking the woman out. And the fact just shows you what type of people they are. The fact that he's going not guilty, even though it's all on camera, it's all there for us to see. And he's wasting all the taxpayers' money by taking it to court and trying to get away with it. That just shows you all you need to know, doesn't it? And and yeah, just seeing it just reminded me, and seeing his big stupid face, I was like, oh man, fuck that guy. I can't wait to see. I hope he gets a long time. I don't think he will. I think he'll get a suspended sentence like they fucking always do. Or hopefully someone sticks a bear trap under his fucking prayer mat. But yeah, Sam Walker, I don't really know that much about Sam. I keep seeing him pop up on like Ebenezer channels and stuff like that. I kind of think he's like one of these old-time gangsters. He always seems to be flaunting wealth and saying he's well-connected and all this. But he got beat up like a couple of weeks ago. And somebody's hit him with something. He's had a chunk of his head's missing. It's fucking crazy to look at. And that's what it's like in that world. That's all it takes. Just one firm club with a bat, and that's it. If he gets it there again now, he's game over. So now he's going to be worried about that. And he's in a back and forth with Darren G, I think. And I think he's been done again. I saw a video like over the last couple of days where he's been slashed, and he's saying it was from a car accident. But you know, I've seen that injury 100 times in prison. That's a slash straight down there, straight down the lip. I mean, it could be a car crash, but I don't think it is. I think somebody slashed him there. So it's not looking good for him. He's gone from being rich, somewhat famous, calling the shots, and now he's got half his head missing. He's been slashed up. It can be over in a second, and that's what it's like in that lifestyle. It's a shitty way to live. But Darren G, talking to Darren G, he's in a back and forth with Danny Christie and James English. I'm not a fan of James. I'm not a fan of Danny, to be honest. I know he's got loads of followers who lick his bum and coil his penis and praise him every day. He's a real man. He's a real man, Danny. He solves his problems with his fists, so he's a real man. What kind of man would he be if he wasn't a real man? He'd be a woman, wouldn't he? But he said he wants to fight. And I'm not been paying massive attention, but from what I can see, Danny is called him some names, saying I'll come down and beat you up, and Darren G is saying, oh, we'll come down then, we'll have a fight. But he does this all the time, and I don't think he's ever had a fight, has he, on YouTube? I'm sure he has in his life. He used to be a big hitter with his brother, but now it's just talk. Oh yeah, come down, we'll fight, do this, we'll fight, but they never actually fight. I want to see him without that hat on. That's what I want to see. Is there any picture? I know there's that one picture what people always put up, but you know what I mean? What is he, like 40 years old? 40 years on this earth, and there's only one picture of him without his hat on. I wonder if it's like that in Meg Griffin in Family Guy, when she takes her hat off and her hand comes out and snatches it back on. I wonder if that's what happens with Darren G. Do you think he sleeps with that hat on? He's always got it on, hasn't he? But he's another one of these old gangsters. He is quite funny, though. I do think he's quite funny, Darren. I've spoke about this the other day. I always remember him saying, when he was in the back and forth with Marvin Herbert, and he was saying, Marvin Herbert smokes solid sherbet. I still laugh about it now. Marvin Herbert smoking solid sherbet. But yeah, he's another one of these old gangsters that's choose a life, not a knife, or fucking something like that. But then, once it kicks off, he fucking pulls a knife out to stab him. So they all do it. It's the same with that not Rackpool, fucking hell, Cockrell. And he was talking about, he always goes on these podcasts saying he hates bullies while being a massive fucking bully, saying he got bullied at school and all that rubbish. And he was on about anybody that, he did a podcast and he said, yeah, anybody that carries a knife is a coward. But then one day he was doing a live and he didn't know there was live. And he was sat there talking to his missus saying, yeah, if he comes, I think he was on about tinfoil, saying, oh, if he comes down here, I'm just going to stab him. And his missus was like, we're live. And that's when the genius IQ kicked in, because he's got genius IQ, because of course he has. I think it's the same one that Danny G's got. There's so many fucking G's and Darrens and Dannys. I get them mixed up, but yeah, he says, yeah, I'll stab him if he comes down. And then and his missus says, no, we're live. So he says, yeah, well, you get the chicken and then you stab the chicken and then you put it in the oven. It's just like, mate, you fumbled that one. That's a terrible comeback. But he's just another one of these that preaches all this good stuff, but doesn't, his actions don't portray what he's saying. It's just nonsense. It's all smoke and mirrors to try and come across as nice people. But they're not. They're scumbags. That's why they got to the top of the criminal world, because they're all fucking scumbags. That's what they do. But you've got all your little hangers on, your Andy Smiths, your JDPs, fucking rimming the arses off them. I'm sure Rackpool's got his tongue up there as well. Old Rackpool, he's still doing the same fucking jokes over and over again. But yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on. Old Sam Walker's been battered. Darren G talking about fighting. Oh yeah, he said he was going to fight James English, and they was going to meet up in a gym, and no one turned up. And then he's saying, oh yeah, he moved the goal. But it's just fucking bollocks, isn't it? At least with Danny Christie, at least he says, yeah, I'll fight you, and then he actually goes and fights. Like with Decker, I mean, that was a brutal fight. I get anxiety just watching that, when they're in the gym and Decker's been for about 9 shits. He's literally shitting himself. I used to get that when I would go up to court, even though I've been to court like hundreds of times. you go up to court, you've got that feeling, you know, and everybody's well dressed and it's all proper and correct, and you come in like fucking scruffy as out, smackhead, hair all over. And even if you know you're going to get remanded, once they say it, yeah, we're remanding you for 3 months, you get that sinking feeling you need to have a crap. Because you're like literally shitting yourself, and that's what Decker was doing. Apparently he had like 30 shits before he got there. But yeah, that's a fucking brutal fight, and before the fight, watching it, I could feel I was getting anxiety. Fucking hell, so massive respect to those guys as fighters. As people, I don't really like Danny Christie. I feel like he's an arrogant bully, you know. He thinks, I think he needs bringing down a little peg or two. And because he goes on like he's judge, jury and executioner, do you know what I mean? Like, and he has to get involved. And I saw him, he was talking shit about someone because they had a photo with Conor McGregor, and then he had his arm around him, he was smiling or something, and Danny made a video saying, oh, look at you, get a grip, get a fucking grip. And now he's posting pictures of Conor McGregor, posting DMs what he's got from him and all that. But, you know, as a fighter, the guy don't come much tougher, do they? He's hard as nails. He's looking rough these days because he's had a tough bare-knuckle fucking fight. Bare-knuckle career. So, yeah, I noticed Decker's back again. I don't even want to talk about him because he just fucking triggers me, you know, just seeing him. I was like, fuck that guy. Who else is there? There was somebody else. Can't remember who it was. But anyway, yeah, let's have a look at my notes, see if I've missed anything. No, pretty much got it all. And oh yeah, I want to mention back and forths, like moving, like if you're on YouTube, right, a good way to start a YouTube channel is to go on the dark side and start a back and forth with someone. It's a ready-made audience, you know, if you've got a good bit of banter, or even if you've just got a reasonable personality, you know, because that goes a long way on the dark side. If you're like a normal person, it's crazy, isn't it? If you're just a normal person, that goes a long way on the crazy world of the dark side. And it's a good way to get your foot in the door. But if you're going to have a back and forth with someone, you have to make sure it's funny. Otherwise, you know, it's not entertaining. If you're just coming online and just calling someone names, getting really personal and just, you know, attacking them, you know, going in all the comments of all the videos, calling them names, that's not a back and forth. That's just someone being a prick. You know, the way to do it is to use creative humor, you know, based on mannerisms or the way they dress or the way they look, and to make it funny, and then people will watch it and you can win subscribers. Like if I have a back and forth with someone, they do a good back and forth with me, then it'll boost their channel. And it's the same with me. If I have a back and forth with some big channel and I put in a funny, creative back and forth, then you get loads of subscribers, you get loads of views, and people enjoy it. And I've noticed all the back and forths I've had, they've all made the same mistake. They come and attack me for being a smackhead, which I am, you know, I'm fair dues. If I make a video about you, you can make one and call me a smackhead. But what they do is, they'll go away and then they'll say, oh, he only gets views. Ratpo did it. Say, oh, he only gets likes on his video because they're all smackheads. They're all in a gang. That's what he says, isn't it? And, you know, he's like insulting people with addiction. But, you know, they're not to do with it. They're your audience. So you're really like dissing your own audience, because even like a lot of these people, all the heroes on here, you know, Rackpool's hero, Decker, and Paul Venice and all them, they're all addicts, Danny Christie. So you're insulting them and you're insulting all your audience because you're calling them smackheads. And I would say probably about 90% of those of your audience either are recovering addicts, or they know someone that's been in that world, or they've lost somebody, they've seen somebody, the devastation that addiction does. So when you're making videos saying, oh, you're all smackheads, you're all fucking bagheads, then you're isolating, you're turning your own audience against you, you know. So I would just say that's not a very good angle to use. By all means, make fun of someone for being a smackhead. Say, oh, look at you shoplifters, how many packs of bacon can you hide under your hat? You know, stuff like that. Funny and creative humour, but it's got to be funny. Otherwise, you know, you just come across as being a dick. And most of the people that I've had back and forth with have done that, you know. JDP did it when he was saying, oh, I used to fucking terrorise bagheads like you. And now everyone's thinking, well, what a fucking dick. You know what I mean? So yeah, if you're going to have a back and forth with someone,
make sure it's creative, funny and entertaining, and you can get subscribers. You can, and if you're not funny, then just be a voice of reason. A good example of that is that Matt, who's recently come out. I've not really seen much of him lately, but he seems to have a decent opinion on things, you know, and people appreciate that. But anyway, that's the video for today. If you like this video, press the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, Mange 2, YouTube, Mange 2.